welcome back to another video. I am super excited for this one. This is one of my favorite Disney animated videos. It is also the same movie that came out, I said that wrong. The movie that came out the year of my birth. What? We're both 30 this year. Crazy how that is. Yeah, I just gave away my age. It's okay. Much love to me, right? Anyway, we are going to be covering the hidden Easter eggs and hidden Mickeys in Beauty and the Beast. Alright guys, I want to hear what your favorite videos are so I know and I can take your requests. Go join our Facebook group as well. We're going to be covering a lot of requests over there as well as different theories, recipes, film history, and so much more. Anyway, let's get started because we are on a roll. Hey guys, so here we are, our first kind of clue to the movie. As many times as I've watched Beauty and the Beast, I didn't even really pay attention to this part. This is foreshadowing to the very end when we see the Beast turn into his prince self. Fun fact, his real name is not actually Adam. I know a lot of people refer to him as Prince Adam, but that was a fan-given name back in the early 2000s through a video game, and it just kind of stuck. But yeah, that's why you see Beast the prince in his beast form at Disney World is because he's really known as the Beast. Fun fact anyway. Let's move on. Now, what's great about this one is I actually caught this the last time I watched the film when I was working on my book, The Disney Pixar Connection Volume 1. By the way, it's out now. You can get your copy. But it took me forever to figure out why it looked so familiar. Now, there are a few things about it. Of course, there are things that kind of remind me of this particular shot after Beauty and the Beast came out. But if you notice in the movie, all of the things that were in the West Wing reminded us of the Beast in his human form before his transformation. And the rest of the castle was after his transformation. We're going to talk more about that in just a little bit, but I just want you guys to take notice the next time you watch. Of course, they had to sprinkle in a little hidden Mickey into the sparkle of the rose. Another thing to note is that Beauty and the Beast is set in France, right? It's set in the countryside of France. So gargoyles were kind of a thing. You'll note it in other films set in France, especially by Disney, like Notre Dame, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, for example, and Gargoyles. Part of that was actually filmed in France, but you'll notice by the end of the movie, they're no longer gargoyles when the spell is gone. So kind of interesting concept. But also, we're going to talk more about this kind of gargoyle-ish features within the film because there's some fun facts about that. Okay, now on to the book that Belle chose to read. Now, they do talk about Prince Charming being from Cinderella, who, by the way, was also set in France. But some people do think it's about Aladdin. Some people can say it can foreshadow a little bit in Beauty and the Beast. I want to know your opinions. I personally think she's talking about Cinderella. We do know at some point they all meet up. But I will say, if you pay attention to the music, I know I am that girl. I pay attention to everything. She does say a line in the song, Something There, where he's not my Prince Charming, right? That is the line. So I want to know your opinions. Do you think it's foreshadowing or do you think it's another film? And let me know why you think that. And on another note about that book, Gaston references the book that says, why do you read this? It has no pictures. When in fact, we just saw that the book has pictures. Maybe he means it's not really a picture book. It's more of a chapter Back when Beauty and the Beast was supposed to be set in France, books really didn't have pictures when they were chapter books. It was really all just words. And nowadays you do often see some chapter books have a little bit of a picture in the beginning. But I just thought it was funny and wanted to throw that in. So, fun fact about this one is Belle is the only one in blue. Now, blue being a royal color in France at that time, it wasn't very well used, especially by peasants, but the animators used it to set her apart. So, especially in that village scene, you can see her despite everyone else being around. Another fun yet sad fact, because all the Disney stores are pretty much closing and it makes my heart so sad being a former cast member, but back, or at least for the stores that will continue to be opened, they do actually use that Bonjour song to open up the stores, and you can get a key. It breaks my heart that most of the stores are closing. My store, however, is not. Fun fact, go visit Times Square. Biggest Disney store around besides Disney World. But yeah, if you ever go at opening, you're gonna see that. So have fun. There was this sign, you might have seen it before. It does say Anaheim and Valencia. That is actually right where the Walt Disney Studios is located, or it was at the time. Go check it out. It's pretty cool. And then there is this Easter egg when Gaston fell into the mud, as well as this Easter egg within the flowers when Belle is singing. Then we skip forward into the castle. Now, what makes this photo and then the next photo very interesting is that there are several instances of various beast statues within the castle. And what it is it's variations of what Beast was going to be looking like. And so they didn't want to get rid of all that artwork. They decided to kind of throw it in there within the castle, make it look like gargoyles, which we did mention before. Pretty cool, right? And then, of course, Disney has to do it. There are, of course, a hidden Mickey within the bubbles. This is actually one of a few photos with bubbles in it with, you know, the hidden Mickeys. There's always that. Very well known for Disney animators to do that with their artwork. Alright, now I have to take a moment. This is really not Easter egg specific, but this song, Gaston does talk about when he was a kid eating 4 dozen eggs, which is a lot of eggs. And then he says he's going to eat 5 dozen eggs. Well, in the beginning, in the first song, Bonjour, a lady is like, that's too many eggs. And I think she had like 6 kids on her, something like that. Crazy amount of kids. And it was too expensive. Well, price goes up with supply and demand, and considering Gaston eats all the eggs in the town, well, the eggs are quite expensive. Speaking of Gaston, here is a photo of him with all of his hunting trophies. Now, this is very common even in today's standards for hunters to put up their kills, you know, mount them. So if you're shocked by this, I'm sorry to break the news to you. It is a very common thing, especially here in the United States. But what I thought was interesting by this photo was not only is there a deer head, there is also a boar head. Those two look awfully like Bambi, or Bambi's dad, and Pumbaa. Now, I'm not saying it is so. I mean, they are both very common animals in France, but take what you will with it. And then we are back in the castle. Chip is showing off his bubble blowing to Belle. Of course, there is a hidden Mickey. Like I said, animators do this all the time with the bubbles, but this is probably one of my favorite scenes. Chip is one of my favorite characters from this movie. He's so innocent, so cute. I have a story about the Chip, and I mean the actor who played Chip, this one specifically. Anyway, if you guys want to hear more about it, let me know down below. I'd love to tell you. And another common hidden Mickey thing that the animators do is use fruits, especially grapes. As you can see on the table, there is a plate of grapes, and you can find a hidden Mickey in there. All right, you guys, I just spotted this picture of these women. There are two. They are holding swords. If you know what this reference is, please let me know down below. I'm still trying to rack my brain about what it is. And if you have not seen, like, noticed that before, yeah, it's, you know, it's like you watch the movie 1,000 times, and every single time you find something new. So let me know down below what your thoughts on that is. I'm pretty sure it references some hierarchy, monarchy, queen, royalty, whatever you want to call it, from France. I just cannot think of who it is at the moment. And then the beast storms off. We have, of course, Cogsworth yelling at Lumiere. I love their dynamic. It's very funny. Anyway, right behind Lumiere are some photos. I'm pretty sure they're of French leaders. It looks like it could be Napoleon or someone of that sort. It is a little bit distorted because it is in the background. But if you do take notice, please let me know who you think it is. I'd love to hear. We are all about spreading more information, so let me know. So what's interesting is this fast forwards, you can see a bunch of hidden Mickeys on the table, within the dishes, within more bubbles. But what you're going to spot next within the Be Our Guest song is Lumiere references the Eiffel Tower. Now, why that's significant is that when Beauty and the Beast is supposed to be set is long before the Eiffel Tower was even being thought of. So, is there a portal that these people know about? Is there some sort of magic besides the enchanted spell? I really think there is. We're going to go off on that on the Disney universe, so let's just keep going with our Easter eggs and hidden Mickeys. Now, this one was a really interesting scene. Cogsworth actually referenced the Baroque period. Within the entire castle, you will see several different styles being used from different time periods. So it's quite interesting that he references this particular period. It did give the animators some inspiration though, so fair enough. Anyway, speaking of time period, Belle enters the West Wing, which was in shambles from when Beast was originally, you know, he was human, he turned into the Beast, he got really angry, as we saw in the beginning of the film. But I have an interesting question for you guys. I feel like I know the answer, but I want to hear your opinions as usual. Do you think that the furniture, the real furniture, the furniture that was not eventually casted into people, or people casted into furniture, was originally put into the West Wing and then he just destroyed it? Or do you think that was just all prior to when everyone else was created into their different little personas, right? Like Lumiere became a candle, Cogsworth became the clock, and so on? Or do you think they were, I guess to say dark Disney days, but how do you say it? Like different servants that were created and then he killed? Personally, I think it was furniture before they all were like enchanted, so it was real furniture. But let me know what your thoughts are down below. One thing Beast did not destroy was the beautiful library. Now, granted, I love this library. I would love to have this in my house. Honestly, this library really reminds me of the library at the Biltmore Estate, which was built by French. Long story, it's a great place to go check out. Please do. But there is a hidden Mickey, as you can see from the circle. Who else caught that? Or who else wants that library secretly? If you're a bookworm like me, you know, give me a like, give me a shout out. You know, us bookworms need to stick together as well as us Disney adults. So let me hear you guys say, heck yeah. Speaking of Easter eggs, I mean hidden Mickeys, whoops. Another bubble one, yes. The Beast was taking a bath. Of course there was a bubble. Mickey. What else is new? Alright guys, what you may not know is that Disney actually does a lot of these famous painting references. This one specifically is the nymph Galathea, which was done by Raphael. It is of cherubs, very well known, you know, Cupid. And it was painted in 1512 to 1514. So that gives you a little bit of a reference of the time period. Again, Lumiere did reference the Eiffel Tower, which came much later. So let me know your thoughts on that. I will reveal the actual time period of Beauty and the Beast in another video, so stay tuned. This hidden Mickey was such a quick find, but it was very hard to capture because it was literally 1 second. And then there was this at the very end of the film when Gaston breaks into the castle. The furniture and all the servants, you know, in their object form, were sitting like this. Now the interesting thing is that this looks like John Smith's helmet from Pocahontas, and I may just be on a roll, or I could just be coinky dinky. That looks like the Mad Hatter's hat. What do you guys think? I mean, maybe it's just a coincidence, but you know, these animators really don't do any of that. Also, there is a hidden Mickey on the chair, just have to point that out. And then the fighting began, and this little clip happened. This is a reference to Ariel, aka The Little Mermaid, which came out 2 years prior. Guys, tell me that this does not remind you of Captain Crunch from the cereal box, because I swear it really does. But the interesting thing is that Disney did not begin advertising with other companies in their films until Oliver and Company. It was actually the first film that had actual advertisements in their films. So this was not an official one, despite Oliver and Company coming out sooner, but it was the first. It does really remind you. Disney does do that too. Small references, again, Easter eggs that reference something else. Which this could be. I'm not totally sure this is an Easter egg, but this totally made me think of Aladdin. Which does come out later. But the dynamic of Belle and Beast on the balcony in this fight scene really does reference, or reminds me of at least, Jasmine and Aladdin. Alright guys, now don't hate on me. I want your opinions on this as well. But the stopwatch, the little watch, I don't know what to call it, pocket watch, right? That's the word. That reminds me of Alice in Wonderland. Now, granted, Cogsworth was a clock, right? He was the main servant. He kept the castle running on time, which was the actual reference. But it really does remind me, at least, of Alice in Wonderland. And we all know the animators do throw in those little Easter eggs, those little references for us. But what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that it's a little reference, or do you think it's Cogsworth, he has to have a pocket watch? And finally, in this scene, it was recycled from Sleeping Beauty, which is quite an interesting thing, because if you notice in the background, the clothing on the visitors, not the castle people, they are foreign, right? They do look foreign, and they do look from another time. But if you notice the circle, it does look like the 3 fairies from Sleeping Beauty. What are your thoughts on that? I don't know. I mean, I think it could be they're always putting a little something in there, but it's so obvious that they're different than everyone else. And that is all we have today, folks. So stay tuned for Tuesdays and Thursdays for our theories. Weekends are going to be Easter eggs and Hidden Mickey videos. I have so much planned for October, so stay tuned. November, we are going to be doing a giveaway week. So please go join our Facebook group. I cannot say that often enough. It will be linked down below. Send us some love by giving us some likes, sharing our videos. We appreciate it all. Thank you so much. We'll see you